Hello everyone, welcome to another Facebook Live. As you may well know, today is the 6th of May, which means there's lots starting in Stampin' Up today, including the annual catalogue. So you can now order from this catalogue, which is kind of exciting because there's some beautiful new products in here to choose from. I'm going to be sharing with you tonight a card made using some products from the online exclusives that launched today as well. We've also had 2 new kits launching today and also a promotion, a joint promotion or a starter kit special started today as well. I don't have any of my pieces of paper here to share with you my reminders, but don't worry too much, and I'm not too concerned because it's early in the month and I'm going to be sharing with you constantly during the month about everything that's happening and all the new things. So the annual catalogue. If you don't have a copy and would like one, please let me know when you plan to stop by to collect it. If I'm not home, I'll leave it out the front for you in the tub. As of sort of today, I'm not leaving the catalogues out at the moment, so please let me know if you'd like to stop by and collect one, and I'll leave it out the front with your name on it. Okay, so I can show you the inside of this catalogue now. I'm not going to do a full walkthrough, but there are some really interesting or really simple things you can look at. So we have got some step-by-step crafting, which is page 9 to 22. So that's the kits collection, which you should be familiar with, and also scrapbooking workshop kits. So they're for those who love memory keeping. There's quick and easy options, which also include, there are some templates and there that you can make some cards from, same as the last one. Also, there are some different suites. There's scrapbooking from scratch as well. So there's some different stuff in here. Plus also there's product and techniques. So I'm not going to show you all the pages. And as I mentioned, the products I'm sharing with you tonight are actually from the online exclusives. So the step-by-step crafting, these are the kits. This kit launched today, this blue one here, which is called Beautiful Blues Kit. So I haven't got that one yet, I haven't ordered it, but I am looking forward to getting that one and I will share it with you. But let me jump through to the back where all the tools and everything are, because it is a slightly different set out to what we had in the catalogue that has just ended. This will be a little bit more familiar to those who have been around Stampin' Up for a little while. So again, like we had in the last catalogue, we do have some bundles that they've shared, and they've got them all together over a few page spread. But I want to share with you in the very back of the catalogue. So it has the tools in one place, so the bone folder, the take your pick tool. And while I think of it, I did draw the winner of the take your pick tool, so congratulations to Jody J. I will be getting that tool to you very soon, and thank you so much for your order. Also, we've got the cutting, so we've got the paper trimmer, we've got the stamp and piercing mat. So there's punches, there's lots and lots of different things. In the back here, we've got embossing folders in an index, so that makes it really easy. You've got your blocks, the adhesives, which go over a 2-page spread. So there are lots there. Some of the specialty papers, sort of a catalogue style of, or index style of the designer series papers. So it's a little bit more user friendly when it comes to looking for your tools and things. Of course, we have got some embellishments, ribbons, and of course towards the back just a little bit further, let me see if I can find it, there we go, are all the colours. So with these, it has the cardstock, the ink pad, the ink refill, the Stampin' Blends, and also the 12x12. So there is lots and lots here in this catalogue. At the back where all the tools and everything are, it's a little bit easier to read than the last catalogue, and it's a little bit more familiar with the older style of the catalogues. Hello to Jenny and Angelica. Thank you so much for joining me. So yes, annual catalogue. If you don't have a copy, would like one, please let me know. All right, let me share with you first of all the card that I'm going to make, and then I'm going to show you the product. So this is a super simple card using some really basic products. So I've got some designer series paper. I have a circle that is cut out using the stylish shapes die set, which are one of my favorites, I think all-time favorite die sets, because it's just so versatile. And the products that I'm using are from the Impressions of Bloom suite, which is, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, is from the online exclusives. I'm going to go ahead and share with you the designer series paper first. So this is called Floral Impressions. It does come in 12 by 12, $21.75, and it's an online exclusive. Now, with the online exclusive, don't be scared to order those. All it means with anything that's comes up as online exclusives, it just means it hasn't made it into a catalogue. So you don't have to order that online for yourself. I can still help you order all of the products how I normally would, but these papers just haven't made it into a printed publication. So let me show you these papers, because these are absolutely amazing. So we've got some really beautiful florals. So there's a nice range of colours. The yellow in it is one of the new colours, which is Darling Duckling. There's also some Secret Sea, and so we have got some of the new colours, Strawberry Slush. So there's some of the new colours in there. The reverse side of each of these papers is less busy, so let me go through some more of them. This is a Fresh Freesia, very versatile with the pattern. Hi Mandy, thank you for joining me. We've got some more of the florals, and this is a Garden Green. So there's Garden Green, I think there's a bit of Mossy Meadow in there as well. Again, another busy floral pattern, and we've got Old Olive. Let me flip it over and share the reverse side. So all 6 pieces do have a really nice floral design on one side. Hi Leslie, thank you for joining me. Yes, happy catalogue day. It's always a good day when we get a new catalogue. As I think I mentioned, or got partway through, read a comment and got sidetracked, with the 6 different designer series papers in this packet, one side has got a more busy floral design, and the reverse side of each one has a less busy, probably a little bit more versatile sort of pattern. So this one has got the Strawberry Slush, and we've got, they kind of look a little bit like a sunflower, but perhaps there's something else, but they've got the colouring of sunflowers. Okay, that I think it might be the new colour, which is called Cloud Cover, possibly. I'll have to double check. Another really nice floral print, and finally we've got a nice neutral one, or neutral pattern, with the Darling Duckling, which is one of the new in colours. Okay, so I've shared with you the designer series papers. Let me share with you the stamp set. So this stamp set does have dies that match. Let me grab these out, and I'm going to just pop them onto a black piece of cardstock. Just so, I'm going to pop that just a little bit higher there, so you can see them a little bit more easily. So we'll see how I go with these dies, because there are quite a few of them, and some of them are kind of little. So we do have a couple of different oval shapes. With this one here at the top, it's got a little bit of a stitched detail to it, but the outside of it actually cuts off, so it looks more like a little frame. So we've got some flowers, a couple of different sorts. Now some of these, let me just find this one. We also have these that kind of, you cut them in one hit, which means you get the cutting and also the embossing on these ones. So they're really nice dies to use, and there's a few different ones of those, and they just nest in with each other. Let me see if I can, there we go. So they do nest in nicely. There's 3 different ones that nest in together. So you do have your 3 different styles of your flowers. Little circles, again, we've got some nesting dies as well. So it cuts out the center of the flower and also gives you a little bit of the detail there. There's a couple of stems, so different types. We've got some leaves, and again with these leaves you can layer those a little bit as well, so you get the cutting out and the embossing at the same time. So there's 2 each of the leaves, which is really nice, plus we've got leaves that cut and emboss at the same time, so that's just all using a one die, and that is the final one. So it is a really nice full die set that you can get as a part of that suite, which is Impressions A Bloom. Okay, so it's a nice suite, and I will share more with you. I have got a couple of other things made, but I'm holding on to those for the launch event, which is coming up on the 16th and 17th. Just slide those off to one side so I don't lose any. Okay, let's make a start on this card, and I'll go through the products that I've used and hopefully won't have lost the little flowers. So of course there is an envelope. Let me just move. So I have got here, as always, my half a sheet of thick white cardstock for the base. For the inside, I have got a piece of Darling Duckling. This one measures 10 centimeters by 14.4, which is one of my standard measurements. And my piece of white for the inside measures 9.5 by 13.9. I will put these measurements in the comments. For the front, I have used a piece that's a bit smaller. So my piece of Darling Duckling for the front is 13.4 by 9, and I've got 8.5 by 12.9. Okay, so my pieces of Designer Series paper, this one is 8 centimeters by 6 for in the middle. I've got my second piece of Designer Series paper, which is 8 centimeters by 3.5. And my final piece is 8 centimeters by 2.5, which is just a piece of the garden green patterned paper. I've got my die cut circle from Stylish Shapes, and my little piece of Darling Duckling for the banner is 1.5 centimeters by 7. So I'm going to cut into that. And from the die set, which I may have used a different die set for this one, I've got some teeny tiny little flowers, or I might have those dies over at the side in the little container where I didn't lose them. So with those, there are 2 dies that are exactly the same, and they do have 3 each of those little flowers, but I think I might have left those little dies over by my cutting machine when I was using them for another project. Okay, so let's get started on this one. I'm just going to put my little flowers off to the side, and I've also got my rhinestones as well, so hopefully I won't lose those. Okay, as always, grab your bone folder and folding my card base in half, and I have pre-scored this card base. Okay, so for the inside it's quite simple. I'm going to be matting my 2 pieces of cardstock together, and I'm going to be using Stampin' Seal. Now, a couple of questions have been asked lately about how to use the Stampin' Seal, so I'm going to just spend a moment going over. Now, I know I always have my reminders, but I just am going to spend an extra moment or two just talking about it. So with the Stampin' Seal, try not to lose your little cap cover, because this will stop the adhesive on the underside catching on anything else. With these ones, you purchase initially, or when you first buy it, your piece looks like that. So you've got the cover, you've got the adhesive on the inside, plus the little cap. Ignore how dirty mine are, because they do pick up dust and stuff off your table. So when you open this out, you can replace the insert. Okay, so rather than buying all of this, it's a little bit more friendly with the environment and a little bit more cost effective by just buying your refill. So you're looking at about $11 for a refill. You're looking at $14 or $15 to buy the complete unit. So when you're replacing, take your cover apart, old one out, new one in, and then put the other half of the cover on. So one of the main tips I would like to share is not using too much pressure, because where this bit of white plastic is, it has a little roller that helps feed the adhesive through. It's a little bit delicate, and when that breaks, you actually can't use this refill anymore. You'd have to put a new refill in. So nice and light pressure. I put my index finger on the top, and I'm going to have it so that this bit along here almost runs along the actual cardstock. So just make sure I've got some sticky bit there. So a little bit of I've got about 1 inch or so there, and just a very small tick to break the stream of the adhesive. And again, that little tick is just a little flick of your wrist, and it does break the stream of the adhesive so it doesn't string out like a piece of bubble gum. Okay, and again, I'm not using much pressure at all, just that little tiny tick just to break the stream of the adhesive. Stamp and Seal is a really amazing adhesive to use. It just takes a little practice to get the technique right. And once you've done that, you'll be so happy with using this adhesive. And again, I'm doing the same thing. My finger on the top, some nice light pressure, and a little flick of the wrist to break the stream. So with these ones, I've got maybe an inch and a half in each corner, and about the same in the middle. That is all you need with this adhesive. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one into the middle. As I mentioned, we've got Darling Duckling, which measures 10 centimeters by 14.4. My piece of white, 9.5 by 13.9. Okay, so that is the first part. Let me pop that one aside. Next, I'm going to be sticking my pieces of Designer Series paper onto this piece of white. Now, I do want to try and get my gaps between each piece nice and even. And the easiest way to do that is sticking the two outside bits down first. Okay, so again, I am going to be using my Stamp and Seal, only small amounts. Light hand, little tick. So I'm going to put the piece of Darling Duckling on first. And I have lined up, I've got a nice even gap each side and across the top. I'm going to do the same with the piece of Old Olive. Again, checking the top and the two sides there to make sure that I've got even gaps. And then I know exactly where I can line up my piece of Designer Series paper for the middle. Hi Gay, thank you for joining us. Okay, and again, light hand, that little bit of a tick to break the stream of adhesive. And this one is going to line up around about there in the middle. Okay, so I finished sticking those pieces down, so I'm going to be using again my Stamp and Seal, remembering that little tick to break the stream of the adhesive, and this is going onto my second piece of Darling Duckling. Let me just double check the measurement for this one. So 13.4 by 9 is the piece of Darling Duckling. Okay, let me pop that one aside for the time being. And my stamp. As always, I think my all-time favourite sentiment stamp set is Simply Said, and I'm really happy to tell you that this one has continued over into the new catalogue. It's the same price, so it's $30 for this photopolymer stamp set. So mine is stained and very well used. There wouldn't be all that many days that I actually don't use this stamp set. So it is a really fabulous, fabulous sentiment stamp set. It does cover all of your basics. I find that the Thinking of You and the Just a Note are really great sentiments to put on the card, because then you can make it into whatever you need it to be. Okay, so I'm doing on this one just a note. And with the Darling Duckling, it's such a happy colour, so I think this works really nicely. So then on the inside, I can go ahead and I can stamp a happy birthday or a thinking of you. You can put whatever you would like it to be on the inside. Okay, Darling Duckling, one of the new ink colours, which I have to admit I'm kind of loving the new ink colours. It's quite nice to see Strawberry Slush come back, and I didn't use it a great deal first time around, but I've actually probably used it more since I've had it in the past month than what I used for probably the whole 2 years that we had it previously. Okay, now with any new ink pad, I'm just going to check, because it is just a little bit wet, so I'm going to show you how I overcome that. Where is, normally I have a plastic spoon in my caddy, but I think it's out by the sink. That's okay, I'm going to use a bone folder instead. Okay, so with your bone folder or a plastic spoon or a metal spoon out of the cupboard, just something old, I'm going to use the very flat, I'm not going to dig into the ink pad at all because it is a soft foam and it'll get damaged. So all I'm going to do is a little bit of pressure and just push some of that ink towards the bottom of the ink pad, because as you know, the way our ink pads are designed, all the ink stays at the top. So all I've done is just pushed some of the ink down. Hi Corinne, thank you for joining us. All right, so that will wash off the bone folder. It might stain. It's okay, it's still going to work fine. And then when I go in to stamp for a second time, that is so much better. It's not as wet, so you don't get some of that little bit of bleeding out when there's too much ink. So that is a really good tip for a new ink pad. Okay, so now I'm happy with it. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my sentiment, and I'm just centering it over the top of the circle. Which is nice and easy. Okay, now if you don't have circles, you could just cut a rectangle or a square, or if you've got punches, there are punches that will do a similar sort of size. Okay, before I stick this on, I do need to just trim and make my little banner. So I've got some scissors, and this is 1.5 centimeters by 7. So just in this middle, I'm going to cut in about a 0.5 centimetre, and then to where my little cut is in the centre, I'm going to cut out the little triangles from each corner. And turn over and do the other side. And that way, with your little tails, you get a nice even banner. Before somebody showed me this trick, I used to go through quite a bit of cardstock trying to get my banner to be nice and even, but this is the perfect way of doing it, and it works every single time just by cutting in the center and then cutting your little triangles out. You get beautiful even little tails on your banner. Okay, so I'm going to put a little bit of Tombow there in the middle, and my sentiment is going to go over the top, and I'm going to wipe that off very quickly so it doesn't stick to everything else. What have I got? Normally I have paper towel, but my paper towel I think ran out. Okay, let me get rid of some of that and dry that off. Okay, take 2. So my banner is going to sit in the middle of the circle, and even tails out each side, and it's kind of sort of straight, which is good too. Okay, so next, my piece that I've already finished, I'm going to be putting this on with some dimensionals, and of course, as always, I am going to be using the minis. And with this pack, this sheet, you can see that I've started using the outside bits as well. So please either hold on to those bits that you can cut up to use on smaller elements, or cut it up and use on something like this. Okay, and stabbing into the back of each of those to collect the little papers. Oh, missed one. There we go. Oh, I think I missed another one there. Oh, I've missed a couple tonight. Okay, I think I've got them all now. Now, when I made this sample card, I actually took this element off about 4 times, and I still don't think I managed to get it straight. So I'm hoping tonight I actually line it up fairly well. I think I was having one of those days where everything I made just seemed to look crooked. I think that's okay. I actually think I'm living with it. I think I'll live with that. It's not quite perfect, but as mentioned, that is okay. So my sentiment with the little banner, I'm going to put on with some dimensionals as well. And stabbing into the back of those, of course, to get the covers off. And this can go off to either the left or the right hand side. And that's going to go around about there. Now finally, I do have my little tiny flowers that I've die cut out of the Darling Duckling. And I've also got my rhinestones as well. So let's get moving with this. I'm going to use little tiny drops of Tombow. I'm going to put one, oh, let me just move this over so that you can see what I'm doing. There we go. I'm going to put one on this next to the sentiment and 2 just below. So I'm not sure how well you're going to see that. Let me hold this up a little. So I've got Tombow just here and also 2 drops a little below. So you've seen me use the putty end of the Take Your Pick tool a fair bit. You can also use it to pick up your little tiny elements or your little tiny cardstock elements to put onto your card, and it takes all of the hard work out of trying to pick those up and hold on to them. So you can see that I've got one here and the 2 just here. And finally, to finish this card, I'm using again the Take Your Pick tool with the putty end and sliding off each of the little rhinestones to place in the middle of each of the little flowers. So it just adds a little bit of bling to your card, and the little flowers are really very, very cute. And then you have your finished card. So that is all that I have for you for tonight. So for those who joined a little bit late, thank you so much for joining me. I will be sharing the video straight away. So if you like, you can go back and watch the beginning and you'll see a little bit of the inside of the new catalogue and also the designer series papers that these papers came from, which is called Floral Impressions, which is a part of the Impressions A Bloom suite, which is part of online exclusives. I'm going to share all of the measurements with you for this card. I'll share that in a few minutes in the comments, but thank you so much everyone for joining me. I hope you've enjoyed seeing this card being made, and of course it's new product. And as I mentioned earlier, if you need a catalogue, please let me know and I'll get one to you. So thank you again. Thank you Corinne, Gay, Mandy, Leslie, Angelica and Jenny, and everyone else watching. Thank you so much for your time tonight. I'll be back next Tuesday to share something more with you. So until then, everyone, take care.